Okay, let's welcome our first guest to the show, Jon Covington. He has been at the forefront in the battle with mold in our homes for decades. Hey, Jon, welcome to the show. We got a little worried that hurricane's bearing down on it, so we thought maybe you were out actually nailing up boards in front of your windows.
I made a commitment to my wife that I would do it immediately after I hang up with you.
Okay. Well, really, the truth is, the storm is bearing down on Florida. Let's hope that it kind of sideswipes it and doesn't hit it. But for your business, are you getting prepared for what could happen?
We are. Our focus is more on construction, ongoing construction, new builds. We can respond to a catastrophe, a disaster. What we try to do is, in a situation, a disaster situation, we can go in after all the moldy and damaged drywall and building materials are torn out, and we can apply our product, which is mold preventive coating, that will prevent further mold development within that structure. And what normally happens is that, like you were talking about Houston, so you have all these 100,000 homes that have been flooded. What will happen, they'll go in and rip everything out, but the air conditioning and the condenser units on the outside of the house aren't working. So you have an incubator, more or less, going on inside of that house. And we can apply our product to that structure, and it will prevent mold from developing and eliminating additional cost of rebuild.
So basically, after this, the hurricane blows through, or like it did in Houston and Corpus and those South Texas areas, you come in that rebuild part. It doesn't have to be brand new construction, although I know that's a big part of your business. But so tell me about the rebuild and what happens to a home after it's been flooded and they have to take the sheetrock out. Is that true? So that's when you come in?
Correct, yes. What normally happens, unless you get over 4 feet of water, FEMA allows you to remove up to 4 feet. So anything 4 feet and below is torn out. If water goes above 4 feet, then you go all the way to the ceiling. And once you tear it all out, wet insulation, wet drywall furnishings, and get it out to the curb, we can go in there and apply our product, our coating. It's an antimicrobial coating used in a lot of products. We apply it to the framing of the wood and any surfaces, and it bonds to the surface, and it prevents mold from growing on that surface.
So let me ask you a question. So the people that have used your products today, if they're in Houston, they got flooded. Tell me about that situation. Will it help save them?
Save them the house, or save them money?
As far as the mold, and will it say you have your product in a home, a flood comes through, and they're going to have to tear the sheetrock out, but will it deter the mold during that period? That 2-3 week period?
Correct, yes. It will prevent mold from developing further. There's a lot of people that haven't even started the tear out yet, and mold will start climbing up the walls.
Well, that's the scary part, and I think the big health issue.
That is correct.
You've been in the trenches of the war on mold for years. How big is the problem nationally?
It's a lot. The misconception that mold only affects people in the southeast or in the humid areas of the country, but it affects pretty much any house. Every house that's constructed has some type of water coming into the structure. A roof leak, a water pipe leak within the wall cavity that goes unnoticed. It will form mold within that wall, and you don't see it. And that's what we take away.
Yeah, so it's really scary to think that you're living in a house and you don't know what's going on behind those walls, because it gets in the air conditions and the vents and creates so many health issues. And so what you're doing is pretty amazing. Can you tell me what can be done to prevent those mold issues?
Well, in a situation that we have as a result of Hurricane Harvey, the best thing you can do, the quicker, the faster you can get the wet materials out of the house, the better off you are. And as soon as that house can start drying out, you will eliminate a lot of the potential for mold growth. the longer it sits there in contaminated water, the more the potential you have for development.
We have to take a short break. Our listeners I'm sure they're tuned in because right now this is so important. So after this break, we'll come back with Jon Covington, and you'll hear more about the mold issues. So we'll be right back. You've been listening to CEO Money. This break is sponsored by Tycon Partners. Welcome back. We're discussing the effects of mold on home construction in the U.S. with Jon Covington from Enclean. That's EncleanUSA.com. Jon, welcome back.
Thank you.
So, Jon, your product, Enclean, how safe is it for the environment?
It's extremely safe. It's what we do is we have a concentrated form of silicone, basically, which is widely used. And we dilute that into water. The water acts as a transfer agent, and once it evaporates, we have a silicone coating on the structure, any surface that we apply it to. So it's extremely safe. And the product, it does not gas off, it does not leach off. So once we apply it, it is there permanently, unless, of course, we grind it off or we paint over it.
Very good. Tell me, really, who is Enclean's customer?
Our primary customer is a multifamily builder or a residential home builder. What we want to do, and our long-term goal is to get our process incorporated into the building code, because chances are you will never need us, but when you do, such as what's going on in Houston right now, you need us. And it's a very ineffective, not ineffective, but very inexpensive building step that you can add to the building process.
As a homeowner, and I think our listeners and viewers, they need to understand if you're going to build a new home, if you're doing any new construction, I think it's something that they need to demand that their builder carries. It only makes sense. And kind of tell me about the pricing model. Is it an affordable model? Is it something that these builders can build in as a
totally? For a multifamily builder, I have a current client now that builds probably 2,000 to 3,000 apartment units per year. I have one client, but I have 3,000 homes, so I have very little effort to go into that, but besides actually applying it. But I can price him out at somewhere around 20 cents a square foot.
That's not bad at all.
No, but and then when we're discussing, are we thinking about residential homes? That's a little bit more expensive because eventually my individual client becomes the homeowner. And if I do a 500 house neighborhood, we're talking 500 individual clients. A little bit more to manage.
Sure, but I got to tell you, it seems like a real upsell for a builder if he can say, "Look what I have with Enclean, and here's what it does." And truly, the guarantee. I want to hear a little more about the Enclean guarantee, because that's something that's going to be passed on to that consumer and that customer, and that's something that will give him security at night.
I'm glad you asked me that. It's a 10-year warranty against mold growth. What if a water intrusion issue were to occur in that residence? All we ask is that we are notified within 24 to 48 hours. What we will do at that point in time is assess it. We'll send somebody out there. We'll take a look at it. We will help with the demolition. First, we have to solve the water problem, of course, and stop it from leaking. But we'll determine where it's coming from, and then we'll do the demolition. We will retreat our area, and just to make sure that we're covered. And that's it. We will respond. It's better for us to respond to any and all water leaks than not, because this way we can help the builder eliminate the problem sooner before it gets become a big problem.
Well, I have to tell you that that customer service, that being on top of the job, is the most important thing and having that comfort level as a homeowner, it's priceless because our family is the most important thing to us. And we don't know what's going behind those walls. So it's very exciting. So how does someone contact Enclean USA?
They can go to our website directly, which is www.encleanusa.com. That is Enclean with an E-N, C-L-E-A-N. Or they can call me directly, and my cell phone is 727-644-2563. Or they can email me.
Terrific information. Jon Covington with Enclean USA. Thank you so much for being on the show.